Hello everyone and welcome to another most anticipated game from round 12 of the Goldmoney Asian Rapid tournament. It's Baskaran Adhiban versus Anish Giri, and everyone is always excited when Adhiban plays with the white pieces, as everyone is asking the same question: will he open with 1 to b3 or will it be something else? And here he stays true to his chessable course, and he does it again. He opens with 1 to b3, and against none other than well, probably one of the, maybe not one of the, probably the most knowledgeable player there is today, Anish Giri. It's incredibly difficult to surprise him and to know more theory than him. But in this particular opening, I guess it could be possible. So let's see what happens here. So b3 by Adhiban, also known as the Nimzovich-Larsen attack, but slowly becoming known as the Nimzovich-Larsen Adhiban attack. We have d5 by Giri. This is the classical reply to this move, and knight to f3. We have bishop to f5 with the early development of the light square bishop, bishop to b2, and now e6. So now the bishop has been developed and the pawns have been put on light square, so you don't have to worry about the bishop being stuck on c8 for a very long time. We have d3 and now h6, making sure that if this bishop is attacked with maybe knight to h4 or something, not right away, but later on, you can always tuck it away safely to h7. We have knight b to d2 and now knight to f6. We have g3, preparing to fianchetto the light square bishop as well, and bishop to h7 now. We have bishop to g2 and bishop to e7. And now there is one game in the database where castles was played, but here we have e4 by Adhiban, and it is now already, as of move 8, that we have a completely new game. So Anish castles, we have queen to e2, continuing development now, considering both kingside and queenside castles, all depending on what Anish plays. And here Anish starts with a5. He wants to expand as much as possible on the queen side, so if he castles queenside, then he already has a4. He wants to open up the position, and he will have a nice open file for his rook. So here a3, expecting a4 and preparing to counter this with b4. We have a4 by Anish and b4 now, but now c5. Challenging this b4 pawn, and if you don't react to this, then just captures, and black already has a passed a pawn. So here Adhiban advances the pawn to b5, and now comes even c4. So if Adhiban didn't advance this, and if he traded, for example, on c5, then Anish would just activate this dark square bishop, and it would be an incredibly strong piece. So here he plays c4. He wants to attack the d3 pawn and weaken the e4 pawn. So Adhiban accepts this. We have d captures on c4, knight captures on e4, and now Adhiban castles to safety. We have knight to d7. Anish continues developing pieces. Now this knight can come to f6. Also, you can play bishop to f6 to counter white's dark square bishop here on b2. We have rook 8 to d1, and now bishop to f6. But now, only now, we have knight captures on e4. And Anish doesn't capture here on e4. He instead picks up the dark square bishop, as this is an incredibly powerful piece. So bishop captures on b2. We have c captures on d5, e captures, and rook captures. So for the moment, Adhiban is up a pawn. But not for long, as Anish can grab this a3 pawn whenever he wishes so, and then he will have created a passed a pawn. So queen to e7, getting the queen out of this nasty square. We have knight f to d2. Now there's a double attack on the knight, so you have to defend it, and you can't really move this knight because, well, the queen would hang here. Even if you play something like knight to c3 to try and defend the knight, yes, you can play this, but then captures knight f6. Black has a very, very comfortable game. So instead, after queen to a7, we have knight f to d2, just defending the knight, and now just bishop captures on a3. Here Anish could try to increase the pressure a little bit before just grabbing the pawn, but he decides to claim it, and now he has a passed a pawn, and he wants to push it to victory. So knight to c4, now attacking the bishop, and here what do you play? Well, you could always capture the knight here on e4, but you can always do that, so we're not gonna mention it right away. Here Anish played bishop to b4, but now c3, further harassing the bishop. We have bishop to a5, and now even b6. This opens up a double attack on the bishop here, and there is no good move for this bishop, so you have to find something else. There is, of course, just bishop captures on e4, that's always in the position, just captures, for example, and then you play something like rook f to e8, you pile up on this bishop, and you completely ignore that this bishop is attacked twice. So this is one way to play it, but Anish decides to go with f5. Now, like we said, this knight can't really move because, well, you will lose the queen, but there is a very interesting move that wins the game for Adhiban, so feel free to pause the video and try to find this idea while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding such an incredible sequence of moves. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's knight captures on d7. This is not what was played in the game, but knight captures on d7 is just deadly, because after queen captures, you have this knight to c5 now, with an attack on the queen and with a double attack on the b7 pawn. So here you will create a very strong pass to b6 pawn. So after the queen moves, attacks the white queen, we can trade here, let's say captures, and then we pick up this pawn, and now this pawn is a monster, but you can't really move the rook, because if the rook moves, then you're going to lose the bishop here. So best you have is just to give up the bishop for this passed pawn, and after knight captures, we can attack the bishop, let's say bishop d5 check, and we end the variation with white having two knights for a rook, which is of course much better, and white would have a winning advantage here. But instead, after f5, Adhiban played knight to f6 with check. Seems like a weird thing to do because there's nothing on f6, but now you have to capture with the queen. If you don't, you're going to lose the queen here. So here, queen captures on f6 was played, and now he captures on d7, and now he's still attacking the b7 pawn twice. So it's kind of a similar idea, but not quite the same. Now Anish grabs the c3 pawn, and here comes bishop captures on b7. You could also capture with the rook. It's basically a matter of preference. We have rook 8 to b8 now, and here comes knight captures on a5, and this is just incredibly strong because now queen captures on a5 and bishop to d5 with check. We have king to h8 and now queen to e5, threatening checkmate. And you don't really have a good way of defending this because you can block with rook to g8, but the g8 square is covered by our good friend the bishop. So here rook to g8 is played, but he doesn't just pick it up. You could do this, but there's no reason to do it right away. Here Adhiban just plays rook to c1, and now he will make a second rook lift here, and that's going to be unstoppable. We have queen captures on b6 by Anish, but now bishop captures on g8. We have rook captures, you still have to defend against checkmate. And now rook c to c7, again going after this g7 pawn, and there's nothing Anish can do here. He tried f4, it's a very nice trick if it works, but rook captures on g7. We have queen to b1 with check, now king g2, and now even f3, hoping to get some, maybe king captures on f3, then queen to h1 check. Maybe you can still pull something off, but Adhiban just ignores him. He plays king to h3. Now comes queen to f5 with check, and now, well, what do you do here? There are many ways to end this game, but the cleanest one, and the one Adhiban chooses, is just g4. He sacrifices the queen, and it was in this position on move 35 that Anish Giri resigned the game, because there is nothing more to be done here. If you don't take the queen, then wherever the rook moves, it's just brutal. Just rook captures here would be a checkmate, because it would be check from the queen and from the rook. And of course, if the queen is accepted, then rook captures on h7 is checkmate, and that's all there is. Adhiban finishes the game with g4, and an incredible victory for him in round 12 with none other than 1b3. So the Nimzovich-Larsen Adhiban opening attack strikes again. So there you have it. I'm very interested if any of you guys are using this, or I know it's gaining a lot on popularity, but is it gaining by you playing it, or just by people knowing about it? So that's what I would be very interested. I did some work on it maybe some 4 years ago, and I did enjoy playing it, and I actually managed to beat some strong players even in classical chess. So it's a very interesting opening, and as you can see, you can even use it to take down a monster like Anish on his birthday. So that's pretty ruthless of Adhiban, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Andrei Sandu, David Kimura, Nigel Holloway, happy birthday Gavin, and Leander Moderson for contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this very nice tournament, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.